Hi, I'm Lee Smith with the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. Right now I'm working on a television documentary on the Gulf of Mexico. As part of this project, we did some really cool aerial photography. Let's check it out.
Essentially, I got a bird's eye view of the Texas coast. From this perspective, I was able to capture on video the vastness, the complexity, and the beauty of this unique habitat. Before we get into the details, how about a little background information? In the old days, aerial photography was done from the side door of a helicopter. We just pulled off the door, strapped on a safety belt, and hung out the side. Over the years, things got a little bit more sophisticated. Aerial photographers began using mounts to stabilize the camera and take out some of the jitter. This is a nose mount, the Tyler nose mount. The newest in aerial imaging technology is the Cineflex V14. Not only is the gimbal mounted on the nose of the chopper, it also uses the latest in gyro stabilization to keep the image super smooth. Watch this demonstration of the gimbal in action. We turned the gimbal backwards so you could see the struts of the helicopter pitch back and forth. Keep your eyes on the horizon. Now watch this. As the helicopter pitches back and forth, the gimbal keeps the camera rock steady. Look at that horizon, rock steady. This allows us to zoom and tilt, and everything is just as stable as it can possibly be, like you're shooting off the top of a building. We attach the gimbal to the Eurocopter A-Star B3. This helicopter has superb maneuverability, low vibration levels, and above all, it's the most powerful single-turbine engine civilian aircraft. With over 500 miles of Texas coastline to traverse, we needed a vehicle that could push it to the max. Accompanying me on the trip was the camera operator Ron Chappell and pilot Todd DeGidio. Ron is a professional photographer who's been shooting with the gimbal since it was declassified by the military several years ago. Todd is a senior pilot with the Houston Police Department and familiar with flying choppers equipped with gimbals. Law enforcement communities around the nation use gimbal to aid in catching criminals. With 21 hours of budgeted flight time, hundreds of miles of coastline, and a long list of must-have shots, I had a lot of numbers to keep track of as the shoot's producer. We only had 4 days to make the entire journey up and down the Texas coast. The trip would begin in Houston. From there, we would fly to Sabine Pass, then turn and fly the length of the Texas coast all the way to the Rio Grande, then back to Houston. We spent the first day getting shots of Houston. To achieve this shot, we flew nearly 40 miles out and then used the capability of the zoom lens to blow up the sun behind the silhouette of downtown. We're actually sitting above the San Jacinto Monument right now and flying laterally. We use the zoom lens to compress space, such as in this shot, with the refineries in the foreground and Houston in the background. In reality, these locations are miles apart. Day 2 was critical in terms of budgeting. We needed to go from Sabine Pass all the way to Corpus Christi in time for sunset. Along the way, we shot coastal marshes, dolphins, the J.D. Murphy Wildlife Management Area, the Lower Neches, the seawall in Galveston, Galveston Island State Park. Now, even though I had this long shot list of things I wanted to get, sometimes you see something that you want to pick up along the way. For instance, we saw a bunch of wild pigs. Feral hogs are a very invasive species, and I knew I could use this shot later for some other project. I had to revise the flight schedule in order to take advantage of these opportunities to capture wild animals or other things that we saw along the way. The gimbal aids immensely in shooting video of animals in the wild. It allowed us to get steady shots from far away where we wouldn't disturb them. Despite changes to the schedule, we still made it to Corpus Christi by 1 to sit down and wait for the golden hour. The golden hour is that warm light that happens right before sunset or right after sunrise. We got more amazing sunsets that evening over Baffin Bay. To begin day 3, we shot the morning golden hour over Aransas Pass. Then we flew down Padre Island to the mouth of the Rio Grande. After coming back up the Laguna Madre, we sat down to wait for evening. Unfortunately, the clouds left us with a mediocre sunset, so I decided to keep the helicopter grounded for the evening and save valuable airtime for the final day. With a few extra hours of flight time, we were able to get shots of a rookery island and suburban sprawl on our way back to Houston. When we finally landed, we had clocked 20.6 hours of flight time, just 24 minutes under budget. It was a shoot of a lifetime, a huge success, we came back with landscapes, cityscapes, wildlife, and footage that will help demonstrate complex biological processes. This aerial footage will give many viewers a chance to see the Texas coast from a new perspective. Much can be discovered by looking at the land and sea from the sky.
Wow, what a ride that was. Well, the show is going to air on Texas PBS stations in February, so stay tuned. We're going to make some more announcements on Facebook. Well, got to get back to editing. Thanks.